What's going on, guys? Before we start, I apologize for the lighting. I was having technical difficulties with the lighting, so I apologize for that. USL playoffs. Let's talk about it. If you don't know, my name is Keith, I do Black Quarterback Series, and today we got USFL football. So I didn't cover a lot of the USFL throughout the season. I covered every now and then, just basically because it didn't really hold my attention like I thought it would. But the playoffs did, and both games were really, really good. So we're going to talk about both games. We're going to talk about the Stars versus the Generals, and we're going to talk about Birmingham versus the Breakers. My last video, actually, I think my last full-length video, I think, was about the Breakers game. The Breakers in New Orleans. I think they played twice. And that game did disappoint. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. So, before we get into those, let's talk about the USFL awards and some of these guys' numbers. So, the MVP was Turpin. 540 receiving yards, 4 receiving touchdowns, 129 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. Numbers, because the offensive player of the year was Devontae Victor. And he rushed, he had 177 receiving yards, 127 attempts and 9 touchdowns. So, 377 rush yards. I don't know why Devontae Victor didn't win the MVP. Now, from what I saw yesterday, Devontae Turpin was electric. They should have put the ball in his hands more than they did. And then when he got the chance to put the ball in his hands, he was out of there. Changed the whole momentum of the game. Not receiving touchdown. Kick return touchdown. The General was up 1. So they should have put the ball more in his hands, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons they lost. But let me get into the rest of it. So Chris Odom, he played for the Gamblers, 29 tackles, 12 sacks. Coach of the Year, Mike Riley. After losing their first game, they went on like an 8-9 game winning streak, and didn't lose again until yesterday. So let's talk about that game. So New Jersey Generals against Philadelphia Stars. And now something I didn't like about New Jersey is the 2 quarterback set they have. So they have DeAndre Johnson, who was in Last Chance U, and they have another guy, his name is escaping me right now, put his face up. That has to change next year. Now they were great on the ground all year. But they're gonna have to upgrade the quarterback. I love DeAndre Johnson, but I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he might get an NFL candidate based on his athleticism, but I don't think that he's professional football ready. In this league, yeah, but if you can't start in this league, I don't think anybody's gonna be calling you in the NFL no time soon. He might be that guy later on down the road. He still has time, but New Jersey's gonna have to find a guy. New Jersey's gonna have to find a guy because that 2 quarterback set. I'm just not a big fan of it. So, but it led them to one of the better records in the USFL, which is why they're in the playoffs. But it reminded me of a Ravens game when the Ravens can't run the ball. Philly made them play their game. Anything Philly wanted to do, Philly was like, "You're gonna play our game. You're not gonna play your game. This is what we do. We're gonna do this." Aside from maybe the third quarter, the third quarter where they let them get back into it, I don't think Philly really let up at any point. But the only reason they even let up in the third quarter is because their 3 best players got hurt. I'm talking about on back-to-back plays. Starting center, starting quarterback, starting running back, and starting cornerback never returned. So that was really the only reason New Jersey even got back into the game, is because of the injuries and the mistakes that they were making on the star side, just from my perspective. And the Jersey defense played well. They did what they had to. It was a kick return game. I don't think I've ever seen 2 kick returns in a game, and both of them switched the game. So overall, it was a good game. Really, really good game. If this is your first USFL game, you probably thoroughly impressed by it. So the stars guys, Alexander, he had a kickoff return, really changed the game. Cookus was 10 for 20, 133 yards and an interception. The Generals didn't really do much. Like I said, Turpin didn't really show up, but I think that's more of coaching than anything else. I don't think that's necessarily about him not showing up, because they didn't put the ball in his hands enough. And they just couldn't run. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball. They were trying to, and Philly was just like, no, you're not doing that. And the announcer said something about pressure. I guess they came in as the odds-on favorite to win, and then when you're down 10-0 at one point in the game, you kind of feel like you got to go out of yourself to win. And that's kind of what looked like New Jersey was doing. They were kind of going out of themselves to win. They were doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing, and it led to them turning the ball over, 2 interceptions. So the Stars are heading to the USFL playoff, or to the USFL Championship, to face the Birmingham Stallions. And it wasn't no easy feat for them up until the fourth quarter. We'll get to the fourth quarter in a moment. So the game is pretty much evenly matched. Birmingham goes and scores, Breakers goes and scores. But what really happened is the turnovers is what really shifted the game. I don't think Birmingham had any turnovers. New Orleans had 2 turnovers. They had a pick 6 by Gates, and they Slaughter did not play well. He threw 2 huge interceptions. Also, some of the throws that he was making ended up being huge drops. He should have had 7 instead of 3, which if they had ended up getting 7 instead of 3, it would have been 20-21 instead of 17-21. So there were some huge drops on that last drive. That could have changed the momentum of the game. Obviously, they couldn't get it done. Good defense by Birmingham, or drops by the Breakers. You can go either way, but I say more drops by the Breakers, because there was a lot of passes that it was right there in their hands and it dropped off. And your heart breaks for them. I know how that feels being a Ravens fan and seeing Hollywood drop 80 passes a year. We get to the last drive. Let me break down his numbers. Slaughter was 22 for 40, 327 yards, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. So I said he didn't play bad. He did not play bad. So Slaughter played okay. He just didn't play well enough to win. Like I said, the 2 interceptions killed him. But he's 22 for 40, so it's okay, but not like great. He just has to take better care of the ball. Better care of the ball, and them guys make better catches. So, So, but when it got down to that last drive in the fourth quarter, it was the Jamar Smith show. This dude was everything. His numbers don't show how well he played in that drive. 17 for 27, 190 yards, a touchdown, 7 attempts, 48 rushing yards. But you watch the game, bro was in complete control of that whole last drive to win the game. I think they got the ball with like 6 minutes left. I think they got the ball with like 6 minutes left. And the Breakers never saw the ball again. What's going on, y'all? So I was having some technical difficulties with my it's just one of those days. But so that's all I have for you guys. USFL football. I will definitely be breaking down the championship game next week. Definitely be breaking that down. We're gonna talk all about it. So yeah, that's it. A couple more things before I go. Deshaun's probably gonna be gone for a year, so I'm gonna revamp my schedule review for Deshaun probably sometime next week. We got a couple things we also need to talk about. Deshaun's contract again, Kyler Murray again, so Patrick Mahomes. So we got some stuff we need to talk about next week. So I've been waiting for more news to come out, but it's off season, so we're gonna get into this next week. We'll ramp up for the season. So that's all I got for you guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday.